Hello, this is Steve, and for you, it is Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific. I told you I would pre-record this before I left town, so here we are. Today, we're going to be working on what we did on last Wednesday. If you remember, Monday we talked about pentatonic, Wednesday we talked about diatonic, and today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how to convert that diatonic into modes as well, and I'm going to give you a really great trick to practice this stuff. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for taking time out, even though I'm not here today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. And I want to remind you, please be sure to check out Essential Guitar Scales. There's going to be a link over in the chat somewhere. The guys will post it, even though I'm not here. And you can check out that, or you can head over to GuitarZoom.com and check it out too. Essential Guitar Scales, new guitar course that I've got, where we'll learn about scales, how to connect them across the fretboard, how to use them, all sorts of things like that. So hopefully, hopefully that helps you a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started here. So the first thing I want you to do is, last time we talked about how to take a pentatonic and convert it into diatonic by adding a couple of new notes to it. And you haven't seen that yet. If you haven't, please go back and there will be a playlist on the YouTube GuitarZoom channel, I'm sure, where you can watch those other videos, and I would highly recommend you doing that. And then always remember that because this is video, one of the greatest things that you can do is stop. You can press pause or press stop and have me stop talking, and you can absorb some of the things that we're talking about if needed. So what I want to do to start off today is we're going to take that same major scale that we were doing before, but what I'm going to do to start off is I'm going to actually change my fingering on this and where those notes are, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. Okay, so let's take those notes, and if we look, I'm playing the notes. I'm in A major here, so I'm playing A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and then A. And again, if you don't know those notes, it's perfectly fine. Just look at what I'm playing. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to convert this into what we call a spread fingering, and I'm going to show you why in just a second here. So I'm going to play those exact same notes, but it's going to look like this. So I'm playing 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9, and then over here I'm playing the 6th fret and then the 7th fret. Now, why would we play it that way? And you're going to notice I'm using my first, my middle, and my pinky. Some people like to use their first, third, and pinky, and that's okay too. The reason is, there's a number of different reasons that this can be beneficial. Number one, you can see that there's some symmetry happening with that shape. When we play over here, you know, we're using two notes on a string and then 3 notes on some strings and different fingerings and things like that. And when we play it like this, there's a symmetrical idea that starts happening. And later on in your playing, if you're not familiar with this, that could become very, very beneficial, especially if you want to learn to play faster and things like that. But the reason I'm doing it today is because what I want you to see is how we can actually visualize all of our notes sitting right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. So it makes it very easy to visualize. Like if I wanted to go to my 6th note, I could just visualize it's right there, or my 5th, or my 4th, or my 3rd, or my 2nd. I can see them all laying out right in front of me. Okay, so the proper names for these intervals would be the root, the major 2nd, the major 3rd, perfect 4th, perfect 5th, major 6th, and major 7th. That's what we're playing right now, okay? Now, what I want to show you today is, and again, if you don't know anything about modes, don't get stressed out. I just want to show you these things so you kind of understand what this is. So right now we're looking at the major side of things. So there's 2 other modes that are important to know. They are Lydian and Mixolydian, and there's a whole lot of kind of theory behind modes and how they work and that sort of thing that we're not going to have time to get into today, but I do want to show you how they work. So the difference between, for instance, let's just take Lydian as an example. The difference between the major, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, or in modal terms we call it the Ionian mode. So think of major, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and Ionian as being the same thing. Okay, they're 2 different names for the same thing. They both give you do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Okay, when we talk about Lydian, Lydian is also a major scale or a major mode, but it's a little bit different. The Lydian has what we call a sharp 4 or a raised 4th degree. And since we've laid this out like this, it's going to be really easy to see this. So instead of playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, we're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to raise that 4th degree up. And that's how we get the sound of Lydian. And you can see it sounds quite a bit different with just that one note being different. Now, please, again, understand that when we're talking about modes, there's a chordal element that changes. There's all kinds of different things that are different, but I want to keep this nice and easy and just kind of explain to you the simple differences between these if we were just looking at this from a scale perspective, okay? So major looks like this, Ionian. Lydian, we're going to raise that 4th. Okay, and again, at the end of this, I'm going to give you a cool little way of practicing this. I made a video a couple years ago about this. So if you haven't seen this before, you can certainly jump on YouTube or whatever and check this out. But let me finish this up. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that same major scale again. Not Lydian, we're going to take major, Ionian, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, and we're going to make Mixolydian. Now, Mixolydian is the major scale, but we lower the 7th degree, okay? So instead of playing a major 7th, we play what we call a minor 7th, okay? But if we look at it from our scale right here, our shape that we're playing, I'm simply going to take the 7th degree, and I'm going to lower it down, okay? I'm going to play it right there. So instead of playing this note right here, G sharp, we're going to play the note G. Okay? And we're going to get Mixolydian by doing that. So very simple ideas. Now you can understand that what we've just changed for Lydian and Mixolydian was the 4th and the 7th degrees. If you remember when we were talking on Wednesday, I had mentioned how pentatonic removes the 4th and 7th degrees and we're left with pentatonic. And now you can kind of understand a bit more why that's beneficial. If you don't know your scales and your modes and all that kind of stuff, when we remove the 4th and the 7th degrees, we're left with this skeleton like we talked about last time. And that skeleton is the pentatonic scale. Okay, so we don't have these notes that are conflicting. You know, do we play the 4th or the raised 4th or the major 7th or the minor 7th to get these different sounds? If we're playing pentatonic, we don't have to worry about any of those things. Okay, so that's, again, why I always refer to the pentatonic as being more of a skeleton of a scale, because you're leaving those notes out. Now, in leaving those notes out, we're leaving out these crucial color tones that are defining whether it sounds like major or Lydian or Mixolydian, you see? So we can see why we'd want to bring them back in as well. So if that kind of helps you, so there's our Mixolydian. Lydian, with that raised 4th. And then, of course, the standard, which is the major. Okay? Now we can do the same thing on the minor side of things as well. If we just take a look at true minor, okay? And I'll do this in A since we're sitting here. Okay? So minor is using A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. Okay? So I'm just looking at A minor. Now there are 2 minor modes as well, and we call those Dorian and Phrygian, okay? So if you thought about the 3 majors that we did and now the 3 minors that we were doing, we have 6 modes right there of these 7 modes, okay? So if we take a look at this minor and we want to make it into Dorian, what we need to do is we need to raise the 6th degree. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and instead of playing this, okay, right there, which is the note F, okay, what we're going to want to play is the F sharp. We're going to raise that 6th. And we're going to get Dorian by doing that. Now, you might want to play it this way. I could take that same note, which is F sharp, right there, and go. If you'd rather play it over here, I'm playing 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, and then 4, 5, 7. Right, so 5, 7, 8. Make sure I said that correctly. I'm not sure if I did. 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7. Okay, and then on the next, if we want to do it the other way, we'd play 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 9, and then 5, 7. Okay, so that would give us Dorian. If we wanted Phrygian, we would, again, reset this. We'd go back to the minor. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the second note, which is the major second, or B in this case, and we're going to play B flat. We're going to play a minor second. Okay, so everything else stays the same. But again, what you're noticing is the notes that are conflicting between minor, natural minor, which in mode terms we call that Aeolian. Okay, minor, natural minor, the minor scale that we use in music. The modal term for that is Aeolian. And then we have two other modes. We have Dorian and we have Phrygian. And we can see the difference between the three of those. And again, I'm using natural minor or Aeolian as the catalyst, and then I'm looking at Dorian and Phrygian and what makes that different. Well, when we do that, we're looking at and seeing that the second and the sixth degree are the ones that are different. So if you remember our discussion of pentatonic to diatonic that we had on Wednesday, we learned that the second and the sixth degrees are the ones that are taken out to make it pentatonic, right? If we throw out the second degree and throw out the sixth degree, we wind up with A minor pentatonic. And again, it seems logical that this is why. When we don't want that modal sound and then worry about this or this, diatonic, mode, Dorian, Phrygian, whatever, if we go back to the skeleton of the pentatonic, we alleviate that. The downside is we also alleviate that wonderful color of sound that we no longer have. So there's a plus and a minus to being able to do that, but it's important for you to understand why this is happening, okay? So if that makes sense, that's what I want you to work on. And I want to remind you, if you get a chance, do me a favor and go over and check Essential Guitar Scales out and see if it's something that you're interested in. Now, I highly doubt that the discount and the free gifts are available because that was only to the first 200 people, but I have no idea. So you could definitely take a look at that. And then it says after the session, they're going to be sending out an email with a link for you to check out Essential Guitar Scales if you're interested. So please do me a favor and check it out. And at the very least, subscribe to the channel, that sort of thing. We would sure appreciate your support. So, all right, so let me show you, before I go here, let me show you the little trick that you can use to practice these things and listen to the sounds that they make. And again, I have a video on YouTube that I did a couple years ago where I talk about this sort of thing, a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't remember when it was, but it was a while ago. But what we're going to do is this exact same thing, but what we're going to do is we're going to move it to the key of E. And the reason we're going to move it to the key of E is because we're going to use the E string open. So we're going to take the exact same thing that we've been doing, but we're going to move down to the fifth string. So I'm going to move down, and I'm going to play E on the 7th fret, and I'm going to play my major scale, and it's going to look exactly the same. Except I'm on the 5th string now. So I'm playing 5, 7, 9, 5, 7, 9. Or excuse me, 7, 9, 11. What the heck am I thinking? I'm in E. 7, 9, 11, 7, 9, 11. And then right there we're going 8, 9. Okay? Now what's cool about this is you can just pluck that 6th string. And you can listen to what the major scale sounds like without a looper and jam track and all this sort of thing. You can just pluck that 6th string and just listen to it. Now we can take the exact same thing we've been talking about. Let's go ahead and make Lydian, which is the sharp 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. we can listen to it, or mix a Lydian where we flatted the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. See? And you can listen to those and see what they sound like. It's a great way to practice not only understanding it, but really listening to what the pitches sound like. You can do exactly the same thing doing minor, right? So we go to E minor. Right there I'm playing 7, 9, 10, 7, 9, 10, 7, 9. Well, again, if we wanted Dorian to practice, we have to remember we have to raise the 6th degree. Or I could put that. Right? Or Phrygian, the minor 2nd, that flatted 2nd, which is really noticeable. So that's just a really great way of being able to practice that and hear the sounds and hear the differences. And again, there's a video from quite a while ago that I did where I talk about that, but hopefully that helps you a little bit as well. So remember, sometimes our goal is being able to understand the entire fretboard. Sometimes our goal is just being able to listen to the color of the scale that we're trying to play, or the mode, or whatever you want to call it, and figure out how we're going to actually use that. And one of the greatest things that you can practice, in my opinion, is really getting used to the sounds that all of those different notes or intervals make, okay, as you're playing. And just being able to hit that 6th string is a really easy way of being able to practice that. So hopefully that helps you a little bit in understanding how to use this. Please do me a favor, check out Essential Guitar Scales and see if it's something that you're interested in. And thank you so much for spending time with me over the last week learning about these things. And hopefully I've been able to help you in opening your mind a little bit in how to practice and some things that you can use. So take care, stay positive, and head over to GuitarZoom, check out the scale or the course and see what you think. And I'll talk to you soon, okay?